Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop-lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics, LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC Series, Kyle Steffens, UMP Modified and Silver Crown driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws late model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook. Before NASCAR's biggest stars were shown under the bright lights of Charlotte Motor Speedway, many of them found their first successes elsewhere in North Carolina. The city of Hickory plays home to the world's most famous short track, Hickory Motor Speedway, a 3/8 mile asphalt bull ring that has welcomed racers and fans through its gates for more than 70 years. From its early days, since opening in 1951 as a half-mile dirt oval, to the current day, Hickory's fastest drivers have had what it takes to win at racing's highest levels. Ralph Earnhardt had 5 track championships in those early days, while Junior Johnson and Ned Jarrett also scored titles at Hickory in their early Hall of Fame careers. While the track would eventually be reconfigured multiple times before taking its current shape, the quality of names on track remained the same, with legends like Jack Ingram and Harry Gant earning titles for their own later on. For much of its history, Hickory played host to what is now known as the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and even hosted nearly 2 decades of NASCAR Cup Series racing before the 1972 schedule shift that consolidated the schedule. Nowadays, it's a premier circuit on the NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Series and a crucial part of multiple Super Late Model Series calendars. Tonight, it's race 19 and 20 of the IROC Challenge Series, and it's next on HBR TV. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the virtual Hickory Motor Speedway for races 19 and 20. That's right, twin 125 lappers here this evening. Take a look at the race details. 78-degree ambient temperature, 45% humidity, partly cloudy skies, a 2-mile-per-hour breeze, track temperature 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Drivers have a full load of fuel this evening at 100%, 3 sets of tires over the wall if necessary to be changed in this 125-lap event. No fast repairs to speak of. 3 green-white checkers if necessary. Hopefully not going to be the case, but it is a little bull ring here, this 3/8 mile track at Hickory. Things can get a little out of hand. We'll see what happens here this evening. Qualifying wrapped up. This is the warm-up session. Just a few minutes remain. Let's go trackside, see where everyone's stacking out. Fastest so far. No one's surprised. It's the 051 of Kyle Turzak, 14.72. Mike Cook, though, second quick, a 14.75. James Pileski back behind the wheel this week at 14.77. Then the 83 of Brandon Mefford with an 88. Brian McCann with an 89. Real tight times here. All the way back into the 10th spot. Chris Wally, a 15 flat. We're less than 3/10 from 1st to 10th. That's quite impressive. Really now 1st to 11th. 14-car field it looks like this evening, so I think just the perfect number for this small racetrack. Minute and a half remain in the warm-up, and then we're going to jump right into our starting grid for tonight's event. Winding down here as this is the final 2 race events before we get into the first round of the playoffs next week at Martinsville. That'll be a 200-lapper, followed by another twin 125 event on the 13th of May. That's at South Boston. And a week later, we're back on the road course. It's going to be interesting here with these race cars. The Daytona road course for a 90-minute event. Then on to Slinger on the 27th. I say the 27th, but the dates are a little bit wrong. We'll get that updated hopefully for you next week. But then Slinger, then Richmond, then Kern County to wrap up the season. Clock strikes 0 on the session, so that's going to wrap things up here from Hickory as we get ready to go racing. Take a look at the race details once again here. 78 degrees, 45% humidity, partly cloudy skies, a 2-mile-per-hour breeze. Track temp is cooled a bit to 104 degrees Fahrenheit as the field begins to line up here on the front stretch. But with that said, let's take a look at our starting grid. On the pole position with a lap time of 14.726 seconds, it's the 051 of Kyle Terzak. To the outside of Kyle Terzak, it's the 93 of James Pileski. Missed it by 29 thousandths of a second. Row number 2, it's Brian McCann and Brandon Mefford. Row 3, it'll be Mike Cook and Tim Schofield. Starting in the 4th row, Josh Stewart with Steve Durbin to his right elbow. Row 5, it'll be Nuke Quick and William Tyndall. Starting in the 11th position, the 44 of Larry Bruner with Neil Quick in the 2, starting from the 12th spot. 13th starter is Josh Funkhauser, the number 81, and last but not least, 51 of Chris Wally. It's your starting grid here from Hickory Motor Speedway. Field gridded up, ready to go for 2 pace laps here around this 3/8 mile oval before we get underway. Field rolling away. Half a lap away from green flag racing as the field enters turn number 3. Terzak already weaving the race car left to right, trying to warm the tires a bit. Looks like James Pileski may have missed the start here.
Green flag.
Green flag nevertheless in the air, and we are racing from Hickory Motor Speedway. How quickly lap 1 in the books. Kyle Terzak maintains the top spot. Brandon Mefford second. Brian McCann runs in the 3rd position. Tough break for James Pileski. Not sure the situation there with the number 93. Was excited to see him back here. He's got pace very similar to Kyle Terzak. Would be great to see a 4-way battle out in front between Terzak, Mefford, McCann, and Pileski, but it looks like it's just going to be these 3, at least for the time being. We'll see if somebody else puts on a challenge here as this race goes on. Nevertheless, 4.5 laps in. Terzak with the lead still. Mefford real loose off turn number 2. Keeps the car in that 2nd position. Brian McCann and the 12 and Timmy Schofield in 4th. Steve Durbin runs 5th. Take a look here. See if we can get an idea of exactly what happened here with Pileski. It doesn't give me an indication other than the fact it shows that he crashed, but may have just had a computer issue more than anything else as he does sit there in pit lane. Looks like he has made it back to the session. James Pileski, that is. It's the number 93. He is running in the 14th position, not on the lead lap. He's about 2 or 3 laps down to this point. He's going to be one of the faster cars on the racetrack, so I would not count him out just yet. He does have opportunities here to get back on that lead lap, be it through a natural caution or a stage caution if one is thrown. First stage will end at the completion of lap 25. Stage number 2 will be lap 65.
Husky working his way through the field nevertheless. Meanwhile, back out front, Terzak, Brandon Mefford, Brian McCann, top three under a blanket as they come back to start-finish. Lap 13 goes up on the board. Close quarters battle here, at least for the second spot. Mefford was right there, but real loose off turn two as McCann gets the fence. One's loose, one's tight. Either way, it's not a good recipe. Checking back into the IROC stream chat. And Tony Kiv says, let's go, Kyle. And then Legendary Gaming Network says, someone explain this to me. Well, I guess I need to know more of what you're looking to have explained. Be happy to help, though. Meanwhile, we got a battle for the top spot. Let's not get too deep into explanations. Let's just watch the action at hand. Brandon Mefford seems to have some pace here early on. If he could just get around and get clear of Kyle Terzak, we might see him put some distance on the 051. We really haven't seen that happen all season long. Problem here at Hickory, though, it's a tiny little racetrack, not really two grooves to work with. You really got to get an amazing run off of one corner and down into the next to get alongside, but then you still have to find a way to complete that pass. Typically, that's going to require a little bit of a bumper. A little trading paint, a little rubbins racing. And as we talk about that, Terzak may have seen that those two were starting to reel him in, and it's starting to put some distance, albeit not much. Car length, maybe 1.5 back to Mefford and McCann. All right, so Legendary Gaming Network says, what exactly is this? An AI sim? People legit playing? What game? All right. So this is, well, it's iRacing. If you haven't figured that out yet, it's iRacing. It's an online, some people call it a game, some people freak out when you do that, and they call it a simulator, which it kind of is. But these are all real people. This is a league race. This race is 19 and 20 tonight of their regular season. So there is a human being sitting in front of their computer system with usually a wheel and a pedal set. Each one of them driving their race cars in competition with everybody else. And I'm Steve with HBR TV, bringing it to you. Hopefully that sums it up. Lap 23 goes up on the board, just a couple of laps shy of stage number one. Terzak's led them all to this point. Mefford's still right there on the back bumper. And did we just lose everybody? Oh, they're back. Well, that was a little scary. Lap 25 goes up on the board, half a lap away from the end of stage number one. Off turn four, unchallenged. Terzak's going to take stage number one. So there it is, first stage in the books. Caution waves. Terzak wins that first stage. We'll see if anybody makes a trek down pit lane. It is relatively early to do so. But again, 3 sets of tires, you might see some drivers take that opportunity to bolt some fresh Hoosiers on their race machines. There you see it. Field pulling into pit lane here. Terzak stopped in his pit stall. Right side tires at a minimum. Maybe it's just going to be right. Maybe take 4 in that second stop. We'll see. Drops the jack. Right side's only, and they have come together at the exit of pit lane. McCann and Mefford getting together, and almost seemed Terzak may have been involved in that as well. Well, a couple of drivers stay on the racetrack. Neil Quick, Larry Bruner, Nuke Quick. Your top 3 presently. We'll see if they take the trek down pit lane here this time. Neil Quick in his familiar white and blue Deuce colors. We'll throw back to Rusty Wallace. No Miller Lite on these race cars, though. Just a little RS12 Esports. But second and third opt to hit pit lane here. Quick still stays out on the racetrack, maintains that top spot. Remember, Neil started in the 12th position here. Not a great qualifying effort for the two. But we have seen his prowess on some of these short tracks over the years. He's hard to get around. Give him some track position. We'll see if Terzak's got anything for him here on the restart. About a lap and a half. Legendary Gaming Network says, Robbins Racing. Sure is. Especially at a place like Hickory. It's almost a requirement. So here we go. Pace car lights are off. That means one thing. We should be going green the next time by. A couple of cars trying to get lined up here. They may wave this one off. Larry Bruner there to the inside with the leaders. Not sure where he's supposed to be. Does he come to pit lane here?
Green flag.
No, he stays out. Green flag back in the air. Quick leads him down into turns 1 and 2, but slides up the racetrack, opens the door for Terzak. Terzak may drive through into turn 3. Quick stays up top. He'll carry the momentum out of the corner, but Terzak to the inside with fresh right side tires. On board with Neil Quick, trying to defend. Battle into turns 1 and 2, side by side still. Quick not going away quietly. To the inside still is Terzak. Quick was trying to get down in behind at least, but Brian McCann's going to fill the void. Now it's side by side for the second spot. McCann to the bottom in the 3. Neil Quick up top in the 2. Brandon Mefford following along behind. Terzak back to the point. McCann now into the second spot. We have a battle for third. Neil Quick still has it for now. Mefford up to his old tricks, putting the left sides on the flat of the racetrack, trying to get the race car to rotate. A little bit of contact from Brian McCann. Gets into the back of Kyle Terzak. Moves him up the racetrack a bit, but Terzak maintains the lead, at least for now. McCann gets the nose to the inside, but Terzak drives out of turn 2 and maintains that top spot. Trouble. Mefford gets into Neil Quick. They go up the racetrack. Oh, and there we got more trouble. Mefford into Tyndall. Still, we stay green. Not sure where Neil Quick ended up in that. Slides back into the 8th position behind James Pileski. Pileski still not on the lead lap. Marked as 14th on the racetrack. Back out front, top 2, it's Terzak and McCann as they go at it again. Question in the stream chat says, which driver is closest to Lancaster, PA? I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sure who's where. A lot of the drivers do enter their hometown information into the live stream, so that will pop up on occasion if we're on board with that particular driver. I know Brian McCann's out of North Carolina. Terzak, I think, is in Virginia. Well, let's try and go through the field here. Timmy Schofield He's out of Michigan. Steve Durbin in the 30. Well, no hometown for Durbin. Brandon Mefford out of Indiana. William Tyndall, no hometown. Mike Cook out of Glen Burnie, Maryland. I guess we're getting kind of closer. Neil Quick is from Missouri, I believe. Missouri, Mississippi, one of the two. He's a Midwesterner. Newt Quick, of course, the same thing. Chris Wally was in Florida. I think he's in Georgia these days. Josh Funkhauser, unsure. Larry Bruner out of San Antonio. Josh Stewart, no hometown. And then, of course, James Pileski out of Wisconsin. So I think Mike Cook might be the closest to Lancaster unless we find out some more information. But that's the best I can do, bud. Lap 49, Turzak still leads. A dominant performance by the 051 to this point. Though Neil Quick did lead some laps on the restart. He has slipped back into the 8th position. Again, he didn't pit during that first stage break. Qualified 12th, so he's a couple of positions to the good on that strategy, so it's not too terrible. I would imagine he's at least going to take rights here on this next stage coming up here in about 15 laps. On board with Kyle Turzak, looking back at the rest of the field. Brian McCann in hot pursuit, a half car length off the back bumper of Turzak. Legendary Gaming Network. That was awesome. Much appreciated. Well, I appreciate you being here. Top two very close together still. Ryan McCann, though, I wonder if he's shown his cards to this point. Still relatively early, not quite halfway. McCann typically a challenger to Kyle Turzak, but man, Turzak's won a ton of races this season. Ryan McCann's picked up a couple. Maybe 3. Turzak with 11 wins on the season, and we're not even into the playoffs just yet. Ryan McCann with 4 wins, not too shabby. Other winners on the season. Brandon Mefford picked one up at 5 Flags. James Pileski at South Boston. And really, that's about it. Turzak, a dominant driver this season here in the IROC Challenge Series. It seems there's always one that shows up and kind of cleans house. It's usually Aaron Smith, but we haven't seen Aaron Smith show up to any of these races this season. He did kind of make the threat that he would come out and turn laps at a couple of these tracks, but so far we have not seen him. I'd imagine at the beginning of next season, that's a name you're going to be hearing once again. But curious if Turzak comes out and joins us for that as well. Turzak, no stranger to a late model in the sim and in real life. Still the battle out front. The top two, it's Turzak and McCann. Timmy Schofield in the 3rd spot. Brandon Mefford 4th. Durbin running 5th. Couple of laps away from stage number 2 being complete. So we get to see the rest of the strategy begin to play out. Again, Neil Quick still running in the 9th spot. Call it a 3 positions to the good for his strategy call. Certainly not where he wanted to be. The contact with Brandon Mefford, likely what's really hurt him the most. I think the no-pit strategy, at least for the 2, not a bad idea. Down the backstretch for the final time in stage 2. Terzak is going to lead him on a turn number 4. And to the line, Terzak wins it as well. Stage 2 does not get a yellow flag for its completion, only stage 1. So we stay under power here at Hickory Motor Speedway. It's too long of a name. We're just going to call him LGN. LGN. It says, just tweeted this out. Do appreciate that as well. Multi-streaming here on IROC TV and HBR TV 1 on YouTube. As the caution comes out, Mike Cook might be in trouble. Indeed he is, facing the wrong direction here on the front straightaway. Trying to get square here. So we didn't get the caution for stage 2, but very soon after we had a natural caution with Mike Cook going around here on the front straightaway. Let's get a look at the incident here with the double zero. He's having all sorts of problems. I'm going to back it up a little bit further here. I want to get an idea what really precipitated this. He's trying to fight here with the 62 at Tyndall. He gets crossed up and in the grass off at 2, but that's not what the caution came out for. Now he's into 3 and 4. Slow pace and just loses it again. I think he might have lost that right rear tire. Drivers entering the pit lane here. Some already making their pit stops. So it looks like Steve Durbin came down pit lane. I think he only took about 2 seconds of fuel. He's going to come back down. He led some laps, a lap or 2 under the caution flag. That might have been the intent, but it's going to put Terzak back out in front. 4 of Newt Quick just ahead of him here. He's technically in the 11th position. I imagine he'll get the wave around here momentarily. Legendary Gaming Network says, I have almost 6,800 subscribers. Let's hope some discover this. Man, I really appreciate that. If we get any out of this, that's a plus. Again, we're streaming live here on IROC TV and HBR TV, both on YouTube. Dual stream platform here. Again, it is the IROC Challenge Series. As we get ready to go back, green flag racing. Pace car is off. Barney with the green in hand, and it waves, and we're back racing. Terzak maintains the top spot. Then it's Brian McCann and Brandon Mefford, top 3. 4th is Tim Schofield. Chris Wally up into the top 5 in the 51. .77 laps complete here from Hickory, and the caution comes out. Chris Wally involved, as well as it looks like Josh Stewart. Maybe Josh Funkhauser in trouble along with him. He gets clear and away. Stewart trying to get righted, going the right direction. Let's get a look at it. Chris Wally in the black and gray number 51. Does he lose it on his own? It looks like, yeah, it just starts to step out. Little correction. Neil Quick gets to the outside, but now Wally's way down at the bottom of the racetrack. A poor entry Slides up. Yeah, there it is. Gets contact with Neil Quick. It almost looked like he lost the nose really bad there. Slid the car up the racetrack. May have burned up the right front. I don't know what kind of tire strategy he had prior to this incident. Neil Quick comes through and just dumps the 03 of Stewart. Not intentional, but that's the way it goes sometimes. "80 laps complete here from Hickory Motor Speedway. I hate to do it right in the middle of getting ready to go back to the green, but we got to take a side-by-side break, so stay with us. You won't miss the restart. You won't miss a moment of the action. We'll be right back after this.
I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Welcome back to Hickory Motor Speedway. While we were in the side-by-side, you saw the restart and then a subsequent caution with James Pileski, and it looked like the 4 of Newt Quick. Lazy spin by the 4, did not make any contact with the wall, but here we are, lap 90. Pace car lights have gone out, set for a restart. Looks like Terzak's opted for the outside line here on the restart. Saw it during the side-by-side, him and McCann battling for that top spot. Terzak was able to maintain it. Field Off turn number 4, Barney with the green, and there it is. We're racing once again. Turzak on the jump, gets back out in front of Brian McCann, a half car length between the two of them. Third place is Tim Schofield in the 12. Brandon Mefford still in that 4th spot. Hasn't really been able to get too much further forward than that. The 83 machine showing some right front damage from his earlier contact with the 2 and Neil Quick. Neil Quick, however, running 14th, still in pit lane. Neil is actually out of the race at this point, has thrown in the towel. I don't know if we'll see him back for race number 2 later on this evening. Still an option. Meanwhile, James Pileski running back in the 12th position. He's still 2 laps down, needs a couple more cautions to get back on the lead lap. Oh, trouble off turn number 4. Mike Cook involved in this one, as well as I think Nuke Quick again. Mike Cook just not having a good day there, trying to get right. It hits the wall a couple of times, trying to drive away from the scene. I think Pileski may have gotten this 1 lap back now, but let's go back and look, see what happened here with the 00. Going to go a little further back. Look to be some contact from the 4 or chain reaction contact. Full speed here into turn 3. Little bump to the 44 of Bruner. Mike checks up. Nuke Quick doesn't. Around goes the 00. And then frustration sends Mike Cook back into the wall a couple more times. .99 laps complete here from Hickory Motor Speedway. Top 5 is currently Kyle Turzak, Brian McCann, Timmy Schofield, Brandon Mefford, and Steve Durbin. Further down the line, it's in 6th place Josh Funkhauser, then Larry Bruner, William Tyndall in 8th, 9th Chris Wally, 10th Mike Cook, Nuke Quick shown in the 11th spot, 12th Josh Stewart, James Pileski still 13th, and 14th and out of the race, it's Neil Quick. Coming to 25 laps to go. Should get the 1 to go signal this time by. And there it is. So we'll get the restart here with 24 laps remaining. Turzak's going to take the top side again on the restart. Worked well for him on the previous restart. We'll see if it pays off again.
Green flag.
And green back in the air. Turzak with the jump. Might have caught Brian McCann sleeping just a bit. Battle for the 3rd spot between Brandon Mefford and Tim Schofield. Mefford takes it away. Schofield relegated back to P4. William Tyndall into the 5th spot. Steve Durbin lost that. He's now running in 6th. now back out front. Terzak still with the top spot over Brian McCann, Brandon Mefford, Tim Schofield, William Tyndall. That's the top 5. And it's Durbin, Funkhauser, Cook, Buick, Quick, and Larry Bruner, the top 10. Chris Wally, 11th, the last car on the lead lap. Terzak still very smooth, very clean, very fast here at Hickory Motor Speedway, though Brian McCann not letting him get too far out in front. A car length and a half between the 51 and the 3. Terzak's finally got it in kill mode, trying to get this thing to the checkered flag and get set for the second race of the evening. Terzak on rails here at Hickory Motor Speedway, still dipping the left sides just down on the flat of the racetrack as we've got 15 laps to go. Terzak with no intentions of giving that top spot up. Brian McCann trying to change up his line just a bit. Brian trying to find anything that can make him just a tick faster to catch up with the 051 of Terzak. McCann does have the fastest lap of the race by comparison. Terzak, his best of 14.94 to McCann's 14.92. Know if it's going to make a difference, though, as Terzak starting to check out once again. A couple of car lengths now back to second place. 11 laps to go, 10 and a half if you want to be real specific. Field back into 3 and 4 once again, coming to 10 laps to go at the stripe. Nine laps remain for Kyle Terzak. He's locked up the most laps led for sure. 8 laps to go now. Can Brian McCann do anything with him? He's got to catch him first, then he's got to pass him, and that's a tall order in many cases just to catch Kyle Terzak. He's proven very difficult to get around this season. Again, with 11 wins thus far, with multiple races still remaining. Brian McCann still not too shabby with 4 wins on the season. Brandon Mefford, who's running third with just 1. Watch the laps tick down. It looks like Brian McCann might have burned off that right front tire. The race car starting to push on the exit of some of these corners. By comparison, Terzak still on rails. Three laps remain here from Hickory Motor Speedway. Kyle Terzak's just got to stay smooth, cross his fingers, hope for no more cautions, as now we've got 2 laps to go. Terzak very smooth once again through 3 and 4. White flag in the air. Final lap here from Hickory in race number 1 of the evening. into 3 and 4 for the final time. Kyle Turzak from pole position has led the most laps. He's going to win race number 1 tonight. Brian McCann second, Mefford third, Tim Schofield fourth. William Tyndall comes home in the pit spot. Kyle Turzak, your winner. Try and get to these guys here as quick as possible here post-race. We do have a second race, another 125-lap event coming up next with a bit of an inversion. Turzak just parks it. No burnouts. He's got to save that motor for the next race. Fingers crossed we can get Turzak up into the booth here momentarily. Turzak, McCann, and Mefford. Sometimes Brandon doesn't decide to come up into the booth after these races, but that's okay. Turzak's available, so we'll pull driver the 051 into the broadcast booth. Get a word with Kyle Turzak. Kyle, it's Steve in the HBR TV booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Kyle, congratulations, man. A dominant performance, but Brian McCann stayed at least hot on your trail here tonight. Got underneath you a couple of times. I did see that you changed up your restart position to the outside line there late. What was the mindset in that decision there going to the top on the restarts?
Yeah, the bottom is really dominant here, and I knew that with the new oval refresh, the top comes in, and on that restart there, I could tell Brian was starting to keep up on the top, so I was like, okay, let me try this. And good enough that the top would work, but, me and Brian right there had a good couple battles right there. He was a really good race car driver. It was just an eventful race, really. Neil stayed out right there on stage 2, and stage 1, and started first in stage 2. And overall, good race for the 051 camp. Just need to work on some things, and definitely need to save that right a little bit more and looking at it right now.
Seemed like a place that suits your driving style. You got around here, you looked very smooth around this place, but what's going to change here for this second race? I know we got a little bit of an inversion to be concerned with. How is getting through traffic going to be in this second race tonight?
Well, I think this first stage right here is just all about who can get up front the most, and I think that's a game that we have to play, and in stage 2 we just have to work one by one, but still saving tires because we don't have that mandatory yellow, and that could just throw us off and maybe even cost us blowing a tire. So like I said, I think the first stage you got to go to the front, but then second stage, that's when you have to pick them off one by one and save your tires.
All right, Kyle, well, thanks for talking to us. Good luck in the next race.
Thank you.
It's Kyle Turzak, your race winner here in our first race of the evening. Next, we're going to try and pull Brian McCann up into the broadcast booth and get a word with our runner-up. Brian, it's Steve with HBR TV. You got me?
Hey, I do.
Brian, congratulations. A second-place finish here in race number 1. It seemed that you had the pace here tonight. You actually had the fastest lap of the race at 14:92 compared to Turzak's 94. With the invert coming up here in this next race, what's the game plan to try and run down Kyle Turzak and maybe pick up a win in this second race?
Yeah, the field's going to be inverted, so we're going to have to see how we both it's anybody's game when it's inverted. See who can get through the field first. The leader has a huge advantage, especially when a caution comes out. And it's hard, just like it always is, hard to pass.
Kyle was talking about the oval update and how the top has started to come in at some of these places. Have you found that the top side of the racetrack was a little bit faster in some cases, at least later on in the run?
Yeah, there was one restart where I timed it pretty good on the top side and stayed on the outside for, I think, half a lap or a lap. And then Kyle I noticed he was driving his car just all it had, burning his tires up. So I was like, all right, I got to burn my tires up too. And then we did a crossover, and we did like 2 or 3 laps, but I bet we burned 5% of tire off or more.
Well, either way, it was a fun one to watch, relatively clean. Hopefully there's more of that in store here in race number 2, man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, man.
Brian McCann, your runner-up. Next, we're going to talk to Brandon Mefford, third-place finisher. We'll see if he's got anything for these guys here in race number 2. Brandon, it's Steve with HBR TV. You got me?
Yeah, I got you, bub.
Brandon, nice job. A third-place finish. Some big-time battles for you tonight. This one was certainly earned. First off, good job finishing in that third spot. Let's go back to the incident with you and Neil Quick, though. You guys obviously have raced together for quite some time. We didn't quite catch it on the broadcast. What exactly happened with you and the two there early on in this race?
I went back and looked at it, and I had a run up to the inside of him going down into one, and I think he was trying to get down behind me, and he just misjudged it, and it turned me right. And then I didn't hit anything, and then I got straightened back up, and then Tyndall didn't see me all the way on the high side, and then we got into it, and it really messed the front end toe end up a little bit. But I don't think it's anything Neil was doing on purpose. I think he just tried to get down and misjudged it, and we hit right rear to left front.
Sometimes the way that it goes. Of course, we talked to Kyle and Brian about the invert here in race number 2. What's your strategy here, knowing that you're going to have to start a little bit deeper in the field than initially planned?
Well, the good news is I get to start ahead of Kyle for just a minute. Him and Brian are really, really fast today. So, just plan to get through the field. Hope to keep the car clean and get some fresh tires there, be in front of Kyle or Brian, and then just go race it out.
Bouncing around a little bit here in the early stages of tonight's race, we did see that as you ran second there to Kyle Turzak, you almost seemed to have a bit more pace. Was that the case, or was Turzak maybe laying off a little bit? It seemed like if you were able to get around him, you might have been able to put some distance on Kyle.
Yeah, I'm going to throw him a bone and say he was just toying with me, giving me a little false hope.
Well, we'll look forward to race number 2 here tonight. Good luck, Brandon.
Thanks, Steve.
It's Brandon Mefford, your third-place finisher here in race number 1. We're going to step aside, get a break out of the way before we set up here for our next 125 lapper to close out tonight. Stay with us, folks. We'll be back. Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC Series, Kyle Steffens UMP Modified and Silver Crown Driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws late model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
going to try and stop Smith. He drops down below, throws the block, up the racetrack, throws another block. McCann goes to the outside, 3 wide for the race lead in the win here at Daytona. Crosses the stripe and we're all reckoning. Brian McCann takes the checkered flag. Blaze has newer tires, 6 laps newer to be specific. Into 3 and 4 for the final time. He makes some contact with Zach Millett. Millett drops it back to the bottom. Off of turn number 4 for the final time. Zach Millett's gonna win through the trial for the final time. And oh, they're wrecking. Big trouble. Vincent Short sneaks through, and I think Short's gonna win this. He does. Vincent Short wins.
How much signal I need to cut across 8 lane? None? I turn now. Good luck, everybody else.
Just don't know where that baby of mine. Well, I just don't know. Have mercy.
Welcome back to Hickory Motor Speedway. The warm-up for race number 2 just about concluded. Night has fallen here on the racetrack, so going to be very different race conditions for these drivers this evening. Track temperature has certainly come down. We'll take a look at that. Remember, it was 120 degrees Fahrenheit earlier in that first race. Now it's all the way down to high 70s, 78 degrees Fahrenheit. Air temperature remains the same, so does humidity and the wind. But track temp, that's going to be the story here tonight. Faster times already being seen here. The fastest of 14:15 out of Kyle Turzak here in the warm-up. We've got just about 20 seconds remaining in this session. The times in that top 5 all within half a tenth just about as Mefford dumps the 51. Again, it's just the warm-up, folks. No real cars, no real damage. Don't need to worry about backup cars here. Warm-up complete. Let's get a look at our starting grid. I'm going to cross my fingers. It's been very finicky lately as far as how that starting grid displays. Looks like Neil Quick's going to be on the pole. Is that how it shows up? Yes, indeed, it does. So, on the pole position with the invert, it's going to be the 2 of Neil Quick. Outside front row, James Pileski having an issue in that first race. Finishes 2 laps down, but he's going to start on the front row this time. Josh Stewart will start 3rd. Steve Durbin 4th. Larry Bruner rolls off in the 5th spot. The 4 of Newt Quick will start 6th. Mike Cook in the 00 rolls from the 7th starting position. 8th goes to Josh Funkhauser. William Tyndall, the number 62, will start in the 9th spot with Timmy Schofield, the number 12, starting 10th. 11th starter, it's the 83 of Brandon Mefford, flanked by the 3 of Brian McCann in the 12th position. 13th starter is going to be Kyle Terzak. Last but not least, it'll be Chris Wally in the number 51. This is going to be fun to watch. Keep a close eye on those guys. Mefford, McCann, Terzak. They've got some work to do to get through this field. But meanwhile, James Pileski's no slouch either. Remember, he's won a race this season. Hasn't been in a lot of these races this year, in this season, but he's shown a lot of pace when he is here. Chris Wally says, racing with a PS5 controller tonight. Oh, Lord. I don't envy you, man. I thought about doing that, I don't know, a couple of seasons ago when we were running the trucks. When I was racing and not broadcasting, I ended up bringing my wheel and pedals to a hotel and somehow managed to make it work. And I think that was on Bristol dirt, of all places. It was not a fun night. Pace car pulls down pit lane. We wait for Barney to wave the flag, and he does, and we're underway for race number 2. Pileski takes the top spot, and we got a caution. Chris Wally in trouble with William Tyndall. First caution already.
Earl, can you hear me? Did not hear him call that caution. You need to check your radio connection. Check the one on your headset, on your headboard actually, on your left-hand side and on your headrest.
62 machine badly bruised. You see the left rear towed in, the left front towed out. Thought it made good left turns before. It's going to be brutal now. Tyndall just trying to get back to pit lane, but again, with no fast repair, I think his night may be done. Meanwhile, Brian McCann in pit lane. McCann looks like he got a piece of this. Right side damage to the 3. Let's get a look at the replay, see what happened. Tyndall trying to come up here on the start-finish line, gets into the 3. Oh, big-time impact for all 3 drivers. Tyndall gets forced up into that tire barrier, protecting the concrete wall. You see it here at start-finish. They come together. Oh, man. Well, Legendary Gaming Network said it earlier on. It says navigating the field is going to be intense. Well, there you see what happens. Tough break for Brian McCann. Early on in trouble. Yeah, he's got a big boo-boo. So we'll get this, get him re-racked here and try it again. Tell you, I saw Chris Wally involved in that incident after he was telling us he was on a controller. I thought for sure it was on him, but not to be the case. He was just collected in it. Wally's still on track, it seems. Should be okay moving forward, but William Tyndall, Brian McCann. Tyndall for sure. I would imagine his day is done. Pretty significant damage. He may be able to get back out there, but any chance at a solid finish here tonight has gone out the window very early here at Hickory. Brian McCann still sits in pit lane. He's down a lap plus. Car doesn't look terrible, but it's kind of hard to say. Could have some underlying wheel or suspension damage on that 3 machine.
Green flag.
And back out front. Green flag in the air. Pileski out to the early jump again. Neil Quick second. Durbin third. Nuke Quick in fourth. Josh Funkhauser in the 5th spot. Enters a contest for that position here as the 03 of Stewart was trying to get to the outside of Funkhauser. Not to Speed denied as Funkhauser hangs on to the spot. Now a battle for the 6th position with Bruner and Josh Stewart. They're side by side, as is Mike Cook, Timmy Schofield. Turzak taking a look and make it 3 wide. No, tucks in behind the 0-0. This is some big time action here at the back of the pack. Some fast drivers mixed in with some kind of fast drivers. It's just the way it is. It's the reality of things. Turzak's got work to do to try and cut his way through this field. He's already up into the 8th position after starting almost last. Working on the 0-0 of Mike Cook. Turzak to the inside. Hickory Motor Speedway, so difficult to get passes made here, and that top line has started to come in, but Cook gets the outside wall, a little too much of a top line for the 0-0. It's going to lose some momentum, and it's going to lose a spot, and the caution comes out just right after Steve Durbin facing the infield.
Yes, I do, sir.
Let's see what happened here to the 30 just a moment ago. Durbin was running inside the top 5 behind Neil Quick at the time. I don't know if he made contact with the 2 necessarily. It was close, but then he gets the car down to the flat of the racetrack and it just over-rotates on him. He's going to lock her down. Doesn't hit anything, but loses some valuable track position here at Hickory. It's tough to get around people here, and he's got plenty more to go around at this point as he's going to restart, I think, about the 12th position when we get back under green. So we'll go through the field here real quick while we have the chance. James Pileski, your race leader, over the 2 of Neil Quick. Nuke Quick runs in the 3rd position. Joshua Funkhauser is 4th. Larry Bruner 5th. 6th place Kyle Turzak up 7 spots already. Continues to march forward. Mike Cook is 7th. 8th is Tim Schofield. 9th Brandon Mefford. Chris Wally rounding out the top 10. Josh Stewart 11th. Steve Durbin after the incident 12th. 13th is William Tyndall. Brian McCann still shown in 14th in pit lane. Tyndall, however, is officially out of this race. McCann may get back into it if he can get some repairs made. Only a position, maybe 2, to be gained, depending on how this thing plays out. Pace car lights have gone out, so we'll be green the next time by. Pace car is in. Pileski leads him back to the green, hammers down the throttle, and off we go. Very quickly out to a car length lead over the 2 of Neil Quick, but Quick driving it off at turn number 2, closes the gap to within a couple of feet off the 93. He's right there off turn number 4.
Caution.
Oh, trouble. Schofield up the racetrack, and Durbin drives right into him. Schofield ends up on his roof. Durbin goes, "Sorry about your luck, pal. I'm out of here." Schofield gonna have to tow. Watch it from his perspective here. Looks like incident already underway. Off the nose of Brandon Mefford, possibly. Let's go back here and see how this one kicked off. Looks like Bruner was spinning for a while. Just didn't want to go around. 44 there, the red, white, and blue machine in behind Josh Funkhauser. Made some contact, checked up to avoid wrecking the 81, but unfortunately Schofield didn't get the message. Gets into the 44, almost straightens him back out, but then here comes Brandon Mefford, gets up underneath him, takes the rear tires off the ground, makes it hard to save at that point. And he's trying everything he's got to get back around, but he turns it right, sends Schofield up the racetrack in the path of Steve Durbin, and nowhere to go is the 30. Gets right into Schofield. Puts the 12 on its lid. I mean, what do you do? There's nowhere to go. So as it stands right now, we had most of the drivers hit pit lane this time. But still, Pileski, Quick, and now Turzak. Those are your top 3 drivers. They've yet to hit pit lane. Again, the drivers do have 3 sets of tires over the wall to work with if needed. But I got to be honest, we really haven't had a whole lot of green flag racing here in the first 26 laps of this event. I believe this is our 3rd yellow of the night. 3 sets for 125 laps is plenty. But why use them if you don't need them? So we give it another go here. Pace car hits pit lane. Pileski
Green flag
on the gas. Turzak quickly taking over that 2nd spot. Battle for 3rd. Brandon Mefford and Newt Quick. Quick to the outside in the 4. Mefford gets the spot. Steve Durbin not going quietly either. He's back in that 4th position. Now Mike Cook to the inside of Newt Quick. Newt is stuck there on the outside. Neil Quick back in the 7th position of the number 2 machine. He gets to the inside of the 4. Remember, Neil did make a pit stop here, and it looks like it may have been for 4 tires, so he may be on the charge here. Meanwhile, out front, Pileski maintains the top spot by about 6.5 tenths over Kyle Turzak. Best lap of the race thus far, James Pileski in a 14:24. Kyle Turzak ran a 14:31. So did Brandon Mefford. Steve Durbin ran a 32. So did Neil Quick. Stiff competition here at Hickory Motor Speedway, 33 laps in. Top 3 is Pileski, Turzak, and Mefford. Turzak is slightly faster than James Pileski right now by just about a 0.5 tenth. Except for this time by, Pileski picks it up just a bit. He's about 1/100th faster than Turzak, so let's just call it even for the time being. Turzak's not only trying to look forward here to Pileski, but he's got to keep an eye on the rearview mirror. Brandon Mefford there, car length off the back bumper of the 051 as they work out of turn number 2. Legendary Gaming Network says, got a feeling we're going to see a big one. I don't know, at this rate, we're already running out of cars. Can't be huge. We got Darren Jones jumping in the HBR TV stream chat. Darren, thanks for jumping in and saying hello. 40 laps in. Remember, stage number 2 will be coming to an end here, lap 65. Where we had our caution flag at about lap 21, which served as the end of our first stage. Brian McCann in the stream chat saying, Brandon needs to send it. Brandon really gaining some ground on the entry to turn 3. I'm not sure if it's the same scenario down into turn 1. Does close the gap a bit, but the top 2 drive off a little bit better than the 83. And through all this, Terzak's really closed the gap on the race leader, James Pileski. Lap 44 goes up on the board. Pileski's led most of them to this point. Terzak wants to put an end to that as soon as possible. See Terzak dipping the left sides right below that yellow line. Puts the race car, at least the left side of the race car, on the flat of the racetrack, right down on the apron. It really makes that car rotate, gets it to turn. Can be a blessing and a curse at the same time. As here we got a battle for the race lead. Terzak to the inside of James Pileski, middle of 3 and 4, side by side, off turn 4. Gets a little crossed up, does Kyle Terzak. Pileski battling back on the outside, stays there, just about a foot or 2 off the door of the 051. Back into 3 and 4. Battle continues for the top spot. Terzak still to the inside, almost making contact with the left rear of the number 93 of James Pileski. Still, Terzak now tucks in behind. It allows Brandon Mefford to get a little bit closer to that second spot, half car length off the back bumper of Terzak. Terzak about the same distance off the back of Pileski, trying to develop a plan here to get back around and get back to the top spot from the back of the field. Legendary Gaming Network helping us out here, says hit that thumbs up. I completely forgot to even mention it. Like and share, folks. Like, share, subscribe. Help us out. Mefford takes a look to the inside of Terzak for the second spot. That was an opportunity. He could have done full send there, didn't do it. I think it would have ended in disaster if he had. Tim Schofield, slow on the bottom of the racetrack, may have just left pit lane. Remember, the 12 was on his roof not that long ago. Top 3 under a blanket off turn number 4. Terzak's right there. Not even an inch between the 2 race cars at the front of the field. Terzak again, definitely showing some pace, a little bit faster than James Pileski here. Gets into the bottom of the racetrack, gets inside. James Pileski, little contact off of 4. They bang doors. Terzak tucks back in line. Brandon Mefford there in the 3rd spot, likely saving some tire while these top 2 battle it out. Back to the stripe. Pileski still leads. Terzak second. Brandon Mefford in 3rd. All 3 of these drivers are really starting to check out from everybody else, and more contact. Terzak gets into the left rear of Pileski. Still doesn't send him up the racetrack. They're still side by side through 1 and 2. Brandon Mefford now hanging on the right rear of Terzak. We're only 57 laps in, folks. Imagine this thing would tend to go. Pileski still with the lead, not giving up. They weren't kidding. Top line's coming in. Pileski gets rooted up the racetrack. Now it opens the door big time for Terzak. Can he get by? Can he get clear of the number 93? Off turn number 4, not to be denied. Pileski still maintains that top spot, but they're getting closer. Side by side, Terzak slips up the racetrack, pushes the 93 with him. At the stripe, Terzak's going to get credit for leading that one. 5.5 laps away from the end of stage number 2. That's what they're fighting for right now. I know Pileski doesn't care about the points. He's here to try and win this race, but Terzak gets around the 93. Is he going to get clear? He finally does, but Pileski, will he have a run off of 2? No. Tucks in behind now. Mefford to the inside for the second spot. Pileski is going to go from the top spot back to third, just like that. Crosses over Brandon Mefford, looking to the inside now into 1. Back to start finish, lap 63, just about 2.5 laps before we close out this stage. Just past halfway here at Hickory Motor Speedway. Kyle Terzak started almost last. Up 12 positions, he's gonna win stage number 2 unless Brandon Mefford has something to say about it. Down the backstretch into 3 and 4, Mefford is right there. He wasn't burning up his stuff. He wasn't killing his tires while those two were fighting it out here at the front of the field. Here we are, final lap, stage number 2. Terzak with the lead, Mefford in second. Pileski has fallen back to the third spot. Mefford, take a look to the inside, nothing doing there. Final couple of corners of stage 2, checkered flag, green and white checkered flag. Stage 2 in the books, Terzak wins it. Mefford second, Pileski third, Neil Quick fourth. Fifth was Mike Cook. 6th, Steve Durbin. 7th, Josh Stewart. Chris Wally 8th, Josh Funkhauser 9th, and 10th is Nuke Quick. We continue on. No caution for the stage in stage number 2. Terzak still out in front. Brandon Mefford in the second spot, just a couple of feet off that back bumper, still battling as hard as he can now. He wants that race lead. We saw this early on. He said he thought Terzak might have been playing with him a bit, but it doesn't seem to be the case. Terzak, a little bit of contact there from Mefford, slipped him up the racetrack, but it looks like it actually cost the 83 a little more than the 51. Off turn 4, back to start finish. Mefford's going to try and reel him back in. This broadcaster needs a break, so with that, we're going to step aside, do another side-by-side HBR TV break. Stay with us. We'll be back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Hickory Motor Speedway, 84 laps complete. The battle for the top spot still contested. Kyle Turzak ahead of Brandon Mefford by about half a car length. Mefford smacks the wall on exit at turn number 4, but it doesn't slow him down. Still right there in the tire tracks of the 051. Top two drivers have really started to stretch it out here from third place. Battle for third here just about wrapped up. Mike Cook takes it away from James Pileski. I think Pileski really burned up his stuff here fighting with Kyle Turzak. He's going to have to wait and see when he can get down pit lane for a set of tires. Kind of reset themselves, see if he can work his way back through and battle it out with Turzak once again. But Turzak's got his hands full with Brandon Mefford as he got into some lap traffic. Chris Wally up the racetrack with some damage. Remember, he's working on a controller here tonight, not in the rig. We said early on he was out of Florida, but now in Georgia. Hasn't gotten that thing set up once again, so at a bit of a disadvantage is Chris Wally. Meanwhile, back in the second spot, it's Brandon Mefford. Looks like he may have some right front damage on that machine. That appears to be new damage. Trying to get a better look at it here. We'll try and see as he gets through 3 and 4. Left front showing some damage as well. I think the right front might be the worse off. There it is. Right front damage, right front tire exposed a little more than normal, though that part of it, as long as there's no suspension damage, may actually help the 83. Gets a little more fresh air on that right front tire, may keep it cooler longer. We'll see if that becomes a benefit or a detriment later on in this race. Mike Cook starting to stretch it out here. He's gone further ahead of James Pileski, about the length of the full straightaway. Meanwhile, Neil Quick has hit pit lane. See Neil there in the pit box. Going to put right side tires on at a minimum. Oh, and he's gone. Where did he go? Neil Quick out of this race. Did he call it a night? Looks like it. He either gave up early here or he had a connection issue. Looks like he was changing tires, so it seemed like he had intentions to come back in and race this thing out. So Neil Quick out of the race, though. Meanwhile, Turzak still out in front. Brandon Mefford has lost some ground to the 051. It's about 5 car lengths now back to the 83. Turzak puts lap 95 up on the scoreboard. Starting to reel in the 81 of Josh Funkhauser. A very long green flag stretch here in race number 2. I don't think we really ran into this in that first race of the night. As it stands right now, let's try and go through the field here while we have this opportunity. Of course, your race leader, Kyle Turzak, started 13th, second to last on the field here tonight. Worked his way through. Won stage number 2. Took it away from James Pileski. Pileski has slipped back a bit. Brandon Mefford in the second spot. He started 11th with the invert up into that second position. Was challenging quite hard for that top spot from Kyle Turzak, unable to make it pay. Mike Cook running it in the third position. He started 7th. Recently took that spot from James Pileski. Pileski running 4th, started outside front row with the invert. Was not able to really compete in that first race for albeit a connection issue or what have you. We don't really know what the issue was, but the invert certainly helped him get back into the front row, but runs 4th after likely burning up his tires fighting with Kyle Turzak. Josh Stewart just in behind in the 5th position. He's actually down a few spots. Started in 3rd, still solidly in the top 5. Josh Funkhauser in the 6th position. He started in the 8th spot. Steve Durbin, 7th. He's down a few positions, started 4th. Chris Wally, controller and all, damage and all, still there in the 8th position. He's actually up 6 spots. Larry Bruner runs 9th. Larry out of San Antonio. Timmy Schofield, after flipping over on his roof, he's still in this race, running top 10. Neil Quick out of the action. Nuke Quick out of action. William Tyndall out of this race. So is Brian McCann. As we've gone through the field here, lap 103 goes up on the board. Turzak still well in command of this race. Josh Stewart trying to close the gap between himself and James Pileski. Stewart would love to get up into that 4th position. Top 5s are great, but you want to be 4th or better. You don't want to be the last car in that top 5. Meanwhile, Josh Funkhauser goes, I want that top 5. You slide up the racetrack, I'll jump to the inside. There it is. Funkhauser, the number 81, gets to the inside of Josh Stewart. He's on a mission. Stewart tucks back, loses a car length and a half, and now Funkhauser applying pressure to James Pileski. Oh, maybe some contact. Either way, Pileski got loose. Contact on the front stretch. Oh, they're banging doors all the way down into turn number 1. Oh, Josh Stewart slides up the track. We're 3 wide on exit. Turzak. Was that Turzak? It was. Turzak getting through. How quickly the mighty have fallen. James Pileski was battling with Turzak for the race lead not that long ago, and there it is. Turzak gets through and puts Pileski a lap down. Top 4 drivers, the only ones on the lead lap to this point. It's Turzak, Mefford, Mike Cook, and Josh Funkhauser, your top 4. Not for long, as Turzak is reeling in Funkhauser. He could have put him down a lap here momentarily. Pileski still shown in the 6th position, but a lap down. I don't know. Pileski's here just trying to win some races, but his frustration level certainly sky high after the contact there with, I believe it was the 03 of Josh Stewart. Funkhauser goes up the racetrack. He's going to be down a lap now, so the top 3 remain the lead lap cars. Pileski hits pit lane. Brandon Mefford still in 2nd place, but about 2.5 seconds back. Mike Cook, 00. Had some frustrations here tonight, but having a solid run right now in the top 5, in the top 3. You've got 10 laps to go. Turzak still out in front. Funkhauser right on that back bumper. I gotta wonder if Turzak's just trying to take care of the race car right now. He talked about worrying about that right rear tire in the earlier race. Granted, that was in the heat of the day. The track temperature is certainly much cooler to this point. 78 degree ambient, 83 degree Fahrenheit track temp. Certainly much cooler than it was earlier in the first race. Doesn't mean we can't have a problem, though. They've been under the green for quite some time. Well over 100 laps. Funkhauser gets his lap back. Turzak really just let him go here with 6.5 laps remaining. I wonder if Turzak's starting to sense that right rear tire might be going away. Laps remaining for Kyle Turzak. Mefford still in 2nd, 3.7 seconds back. Chris Wally's going to hit pit lane. Again, we've got 3 attempts at a green-white checkered finish if necessary. Somebody blows a right front, pancakes the wall, and wads it up in front of the field. You never know. That's why you don't take the hats to victory lane until the checkered flag waves. Turzak to the bottom of Larry Bruner here with 2.5 laps remaining. Steve Durbin to the inside. 2 laps to go for Kyle Terzak. And here's James Pileski now with some fresh rubber trying to get back around. Final lap for Kyle Terzak to sweep the night. Still now a 4.2 second advantage over Brandon Mefford. What a long green flag run for all of these drivers, but off turn number 4, it's a checkered flag and another win for Kyle Terzak. Second place is Brandon Mefford. Mike Cook will come home in third. Josh Funkhauser finishes up in that third position. Kyle Terzak, does he burn him down this time? Nope. Pulls it in the checkered victory lane here and just shuts her off, taking care of that race car. With that said, we're going to jump out, get a break out of the way. We'll be back with our top 3 finishers after this. Stay with us.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop-lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics, LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC Series, Kyle Steffens UMP Modified and Silver Crown Driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws late model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook.
back at Hickory Motors Speedway. Kyle Turzak wrapping up the night with 2 wins, race 19 and 20. So that's 12th and 13th wins on the season for the driver of the 051. Putting on a clinic here this season. Kyle Turzak, it's Steve with HBR TV. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Kyle, congratulations, man. Wrapping up the night, sweeping the evening. Both races, both wins for you in that 051 machine. Ironically, we talked at the end of that first race. You were concerned about that right rear tire, but tonight, under the lights here at Hickory, you went the whole race without making a single pit stop. Was that thing starting to get a little hairy there at the end of this one?
Yeah, actually, I was going to pit during the first stage, but I missed my pit stall, and I don't want to go back in and start all the way from the rear again and burn it up. But actually, this race was the right front because of the cold temps. So that's why we were so slow, because I heard James blew a right front. So I was just really slow, and it turned out I was actually okay. I was 42% left on the right front. But, that was a really good race. James, me, and Mefford, I caught James, and I could really see that he couldn't get it rotated in the center and off, and so I just set up my corner entry to get me really good off, and I would get there, and then he just on the outside pinch me down and get a good run. And in 3 and 4, I just kind of got in his left rear a little bit, and then kind of moved him. Kind of felt like real life there for a second, because I always get stuck behind someone, and I can't figure out how to pass. But we work on that. Sim helps with that. So I just want to thank you for the broadcast, all the sponsors for the league, Team's Help Shop, my family, and yeah.
Looking forward to next week as the playoffs begin there at Martinsville Speedway. More of a conventional short track here when it comes to what we see, the Cup guys, Xfinity and trucks and that sort of thing, but bringing these late model stocks there, completely different animal. How do you feel about your odds next week? I know you've got 13 wins now on this season. Gonna make it 14 next week?
Yeah, hopefully. I got a lot of laps for Martinsville, and when NASCAR usually goes there, I'm usually a top contender in the Open Series. But with the late model, I raced officials there, a whole bunch there, and I feel like I'm pretty decent. Just need some laps.
All right, Kyle. Well, again, congratulations on the race wins here this evening. I know you thanked us, you thanked some other people, but is there anybody else you want to get out of the way here before we let you go?
Just like I said, my family, Team's Help Shop, you, all the sponsors for the league, and for Chris putting this on.
All right, Kyle. Thanks for talking to us, man. Good luck next week.
Thank you.
Kyle Turzak, your race winner here at Hickory Motor Speedway. We're going to pull Brandon Mefford up into the booth next, and I'm going to call BS on Kyle Turzak just kind of playing with Brandon Mefford early on, because the same hold true here tonight until the very latter stages of this race. Brandon Mefford all over the back bumper of Kyle Turzak, just not able to get it done. Brandon, it's Steve in the booth. You got me?
I got you, Steve.
Brandon, congratulations, man. One position better than race number 1. Maybe we get a third race here. You can take that checkered flag. But a runner-up finish, you're going to have to settle with that here tonight. You had pace, man. I really think that you were pretty evenly matched there with Kyle Turzak until the very latter stages. How was it from inside the cockpit of that number 83?
Yeah, again, he does a really good job at saving that right front. It's all through the center and on exit. I don't know if you've seen, Steve, but I drove the car into the wall off of turn 4 there one lap, and it kind of messed my front end up, but still had some really good pace. I think in the middle part of that race I was as good or better than Kyle, but man, you're not just going to drive by a guy like that. So, I was trying to make him mess up. I gave him all the pressure, bumped him a couple times, but didn't want to wreck him. But he was flawless yet again.
Well, certainly made it entertaining for us here on the broadcast side of things. Great races to watch. Race 1 and Race 2 both were excellent, 100%. Looking forward, though, to Martinsville Speedway next week. Certainly a different style racetrack, rather unique in that paperclip shape. How do you feel about your chances next week to contend with Turzak and maybe even pick up another race win?
I like Martinsville, so we'll see if we can get it figured out. I haven't raced these cars on there yet, but I'll get in there, give it my best, and again, Kyle gets out front. He's going to be hard to beat, but I think that's a track that some of us are going to compete. It's a little bigger track, and I think our time's coming. We're getting really close.
Certainly your pace has picked up every single week that we've continued on here. Of course, next week being the first race of your playoffs. We look forward to it, Brandon, but a good job here tonight. Who do you want to thank for helping you get it done?
Yeah, again, thanks, Steve, for continuing to broadcast this. 14 cars on a short track. I don't think it's too bad a show, so appreciate you sticking this out with us. And thanks to Chris Wally. He's got a lot going on and still trying to do this league, so really thankful for him to take time out of his busy life and keep us rolling here. And, thanks to all the drivers showing up. It's a long season. We're getting here into summertime, but guys keep showing up, so putting on a good show for that. And so thanks to those guys. Thanks to all the sponsors that helped put this thing on. Thank all my buddies over at Charity Motorsports and my family for letting me hang out on here late at night on Mondays.
All right, Brandon. Well, again, congratulations. Thanks for talking to us, and good luck next week in Virginia.
Thanks, Steve. We'll see you then.
Brandon Mefford, your runner-up here at Hickory Motor Speedway. Next, we're going to talk to the 00 off Mike Cook. Had a bit of a frustrating evening here this evening, whether it was the first race of the night, but things picked up, got a little bit better here in race number 2. Mike, it's Steve in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Steve, I got you.
Mike, congratulations, man. A top 3 finish to round out the night here at Hickory Motor Speedway. The first race didn't go the greatest for you, but things seemed to change. Your luck turned around. What would it have taken to reel in Brandon Mefford or even Kyle Turzak for that matter?
Crew chief was telling me I was down to about 14% on my right front, so I don't think I was going to be reeling those guys in at all.
It's funny because that first race, everybody's worried about the right rear, and then the sun goes down, track temps cool off, pace picks up, and that right front tire becomes the problem child. What strategies did you employ to try and save that right front for the long haul in this late run that lasted almost, well over 100 laps?
Well, I think I kind of lucked out there because it seems like a lot of guys didn't go down pit lane there on that yellow flag. So I kind of had that 25-lap fresher tire where I was just able to stick it out there and hope for the best, and it worked out.
Tires certainly may be a concern next week at Martinsville Speedway. A little bit bigger racetrack, certainly an unconventional one at that is the way it's shaped. What are your thoughts on Martinsville next week and maybe backing this up with yet another top 3 or maybe even a win?
I'm excited for it, but unfortunately I won't be able to make it, so I'm going to be watching from the sidelines. I'll be watching your broadcast.
Well, I'm glad you'll be watching, but I'm bummed you're not going to be in this one. You got a work commitment or what's going on?
Oh, we gotta take care of the family going on vacation.
Well, can't complain about that. Certainly family comes first for sure, but hope to have you in here in the stream chat. At least say hello. We'd love to hear from you, Mike. Congratulations again on the 3rd place finish here in the 2nd race this evening. Before we let you go, though, anyone you want to shout out to?
I just want to thank you for your broadcast, man. They're a lot of fun to watch afterwards, and Wally for hosting the race. And I got to thank that 4th place finisher out there, Mr. Funkhauser. Between me and him, we make the wrong pit calls every time, but it worked out this time.
Fair enough, Mike. Again, congratulations. A great run here in the 2nd race tonight. Tough. We won't see you next week, but I'm sure we'll see you again, man. Thanks for talking.
Appreciate it, man. Have a good one.
Mike Cook, your 3rd place finisher here at Hickory Motor Speedway. That's going to wrap up the interview portion of tonight's broadcast. Let's take a look at our official race results. As it stands, we talked to Kyle Turzak, Brandon Mefford, Mike Cook. Josh Funkhauser was 4th. Josh Stewart finished in the 5th spot. Steve Durbin was 6th. James Pileski was 7th after having a right front tire failure. Larry Bruner was 8th. Timmy Schofield 9th. Chris Wally was 10th. Neil Quick 11th. Nuke Quick was 12th. William Tyndall finished in the 13th spot. And Brian McCann 14th. 124 laps down to that early incident. Unable to get back out in the running. So tough break for Tyndall and McCann. Of course, Chris Wally involved in that as well, but he only finishes 8 laps down. That'll wrap it up for us here at Hickory Motor Speedway. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Certainly Legendary Gaming Network jumping into the IROC chat tonight. I do appreciate that. Shouting us out on your Twitter feed or X feed, whatever we're calling it these days. Thanks for being here, guys. It wasn't a crazy stream chat night, but for those of you that were here, we certainly do appreciate that. If you haven't already done so, check us out on the website, hbrtv1.com. And also, please, if you haven't already done it, click the like button, like, share, subscribe, youtube.com/@HBRTV and the number 1. Thanks for watching, guys. Congratulations once again for Kyle Turzak on his 12th and 13th win of the IROC season. We'll see you guys in a week's time for race 1 of the playoffs at Martinsville Speedway. Thanks for watching, guys.